Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Unicorn. I'm Jimmy Owens. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and ring a bell if you want to get notifications. All right. Our guest today is Dorothy Heim. Dorothy, thanks for coming.
Hey, Jimmy. Thanks so much. Happy to be here.
I'm happier that you're here than you are.
You think so?
I think so, yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to get right into it. I have a lot of great questions for Dorothy. You can only imagine what she does for work. So, yeah, it's really going to be really entertaining. Dorothy, what makes you a unicorn?
Well, I would have to say probably, I'd like to think, except in certain circumstances, I'm pretty laid back, adaptable.
Okay.
Lived a lot of places, so I feel like maybe I'm
Like around the U.S.?
around the world.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm open to people and things that are different, cultures that are different. I hope I am. So
Does that mean you like a lot of just different kinds of food too?
yes, and I just love food in general. So
Did you ever live like at a place where, English isn't the first language?
yes.
How was that?
I was a kid, so it was in Germany. So a lot of the kids there were older than I was, so they could speak a little bit of English. So I picked up a little "Kannst du spiel," means "can you play?" So I picked up bits and pieces of important language so I could communicate with other kids.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So adaptable. I mean, if you weren't adaptable, where would you be?
Curled up in a corner, rocking back and forth.
So if you're not adaptable, good luck.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think you have to be to some extent, right?
Yeah. All right. So I'm kind of in between, and that goes great with what you do for a living. So I'm just going to ask you, what's it feel like going to court? Because Dorothy's a lawyer, a personal injury lawyer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, that is what I do.
What's it feel like? How often you go to court? What's it feel like going to court?
It depends on what I'm going to court for. So if I'm going for a trial, it's nerve-wracking.
Okay.
And I still can get nervous enough to be in the bathroom, like hugging the porcelain god.
Have you thrown up before you've been to? Yeah? Wow.
Yes, and I don't mind admitting that because it is nerve-wracking.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So you feel the pressure. You want to impanel a good jury. You hope you've gotten as ready as you can, but you never feel like you're completely prepared, or at least I don't.
Man,
you have a client depending on you.
Yeah. Don't sleep well, I would assume.
Sleep is non-existent during those type of times.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I haven't really thought of it, and I'm glad I asked the question because, I mean, I would assume, I know how it is like whenever I, have to do something, it depends on the environment that I'm in, but then sometimes you're like, felt a little out of body, You're like, okay, I don't know, I think I rambled, Usually that happens when I get real honest in front of a group, right? But
I know exactly what you're talking about, especially when I was a younger lawyer. I know exactly that feeling of where you feel a little out of body, and is that you talking, but you are.
Yeah.
And it is really when it's coming from a place of authenticity and truth.
Yeah.
That's what closing arguments, I can have that happen. Not as much now, but.
So this question is not written down. I'm going to ask, how hard do you think it would be to be a lawyer lying up there? It'd be tough, right?
I think not for some.
For some? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Not to be too lawyerly, but that's usually the facts probably lay somewhere in between what your client's saying and what the other side is saying. I like to think mostly on my side, but because I'm representing the person.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's two people involved, then there's two sides of the story, and if there's five different people giving a statement, then there's lots of different sides of the story, right?
What did the witness see, and what does the business think, and yeah.
So going to court.
So for trial, it gets a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Then there's what are called motion dockets. that's when, and if I've been before the judges, the judge before, and they know me and I know them, and depending on what's going on there, less nerve-wracking. But if it's highly contested, then you're just like, okay, well, I don't know how this is going to go.
So I got called for jury duty one time, and I got selected, and it was a crack cocaine case.
Okay.
And I was like, this guy's guilty. And anyways, we stayed up there in the room, and everyone's like, no. And we couldn't agree. And so it was kind of, it wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it wasn't a really good experience. It's like this person's going to be guilty or he's not. And then you can't agree. Not everyone's going to agree because like someone came in and messed up the story, and they're like, yeah, but you can't believe them. Everyone has their own opinion in the jury, you know? And being on the jury was like, okay, like, does that make sense? You ever been on a jury?
As an attorney, I can't imagine another attorney that would want me necessarily. I think attorneys generally don't sit as jurors. But, that's one of the things that being a trial lawyer that you deal with, what you were talking about is are biases, and not in a negative way. We all have biases. You have your own life experience, you have your own thoughts and beliefs, and so you take that with you. And when you're sitting on a jury, everything you're hearing, all the evidence is filtering through your own set of beliefs and biases.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
makes it tricky.
It's hard to, decipher through what's real and what's not. If it's, 3:30 in the morning, you're at a crack cocaine house, you're eating birthday cake on the back of the car, and you have crack cocaine in your pocket.
Maybe it was the wrong birthday party.
He was not guilty, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, it was a not guilty case. All right. Do you ever watch any legal TV shows? And if you do, are they hard to watch? Kind of like, I hear about like doctors or nurses and be like, that's not what it's like in the OR.
Right. I really don't. There was a time, and I don't know how long ago. Do you remember L.A. Law? For some reason, I watched that, and I really
that was before streaming TV.
I think that was way before streaming TV. So, and so what I have watched, sometimes I'm like, there's no way that would have happened. There should be no way that would have happened. So,
so you can watch them, but you don't get too caught up in it.
Right.
Yeah. Because she's adaptable.
That's right. That's right.
Even whenever it comes to her TV shows.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, Dorothy. So, personal injury lawyer. How do you get paid?
It works on what's called a contingency.
Yeah.
And so because a lot of times people that come to me or other personal injury attorneys, if they had to pay out of pocket, they wouldn't be able to access the courthouse, so to speak. So the agreement is that I will take a percentage of the total recovery.
Yeah.
So probably what a lot of people may be able to relate that to is when they see on the commercial, if you don't recover, we don't recover, or we don't get paid.
Yeah.
So that allows people who have been injured because of the wrongdoing of somebody else, they would have access to the courthouse.
Yeah. The reason I bring this up is because I heard Dorothy speak somewhere, and then she spoke on this and even talked about a case. And it was this, the audience was like, what? You pay 30, 40 grand to get everything going, or, maybe for the whole case. And this case involved research, and we had to do this, and we had to pull these documents and all this stuff. And then, so it was really, I think it's important for our audience to know.
Yes, because the other side of that, because some people are like, well, that could be a lot of money. Well, depending on the type of case, it is, depending on, because a lot of times these type of cases need experts, which they can range from $500 an hour on up. Depositions, depending, if you're motoring along and taking a quick deposition, that's anywhere between $800 to $1,200.
Yeah.
And so all those expenses are coming out of the attorney's pocket, my pocket.
Right.
But that's what's allowing you to build a strong case, a good case, and if it has to go to trial, you're armed and ready to go.
Do you ever have anyone go, hey, you know what, Dorothy, we're going to pay for all of this?
You as interesting as it is, I just had on a car wreck case a couple in, and they were like, do you need a cost retainer? And I was like, no, I think I'll be okay, but thanks. But that, you don't want to talk about a unicorn.
Often.
There's your unicorn. So that doesn't happen very often.
All right. Well, if you guys need help with any brand development, video production, or your podcast, check out what our episode sponsor has to say. Well, I sure did enjoy that from our episode sponsor.
It was great.
All right. Let's see. What's the longest you've worked on a case, Dorothy? So you're fronting all the money. You're paying for all the research. You're paying for all the depositions. What's the longest you've worked on one?
I've had a few that have gone 5-6 years.
I did not know that. I was not expecting her to say that.
Yeah. This is a different group of attorneys, but they actually had a case, and I was like, wow, that it went to trial. They had it for, I think, 11 years. So, I mean, some of those you're in for the long haul.
That was more than $500, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you only take on cases that you think that you can win, right? Or is that a good way to say it?
That's a very good way of saying it. I mean, it's kind of a high stakes gambling of sort, because why would you put in money into something unless you think you're gonna?
Do you gamble?
Win? Well, for a living, it seems a little bit, but I've never met a slot machine I didn't like.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
So the longest you've worked on a case is about five or six
years.
What's the shortest that you've ever worked on a case? Like, what's like the?
I had one when I was a younger attorney. It was a car wreck case, and I got the case in, and within 2 weeks, they tendered policy limits, and so and it was a significant amount. So I would say maybe that one.
Awesome! Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
I mean, it's fun to do your job well. It's not fun to have accidents.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So who do you actually help? Who do you not help? And would you help Kramer off of Seinfeld? Jackie Childs. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Kramer's lawyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had to look that up before the show. His name is Jackie Childs.
Okay. I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, me neither. Joe can attest that I'm horrible with names of anybody in a TV show or an actor.
On characters?
Oh, yeah. I'm horrible at it.
Okay.
Not today.
You're doing great. Yeah.
Wasn't even on the note card.
That's excellent.
Okay. All right. You want to answer?
Yeah. So
you would help Kramer.
Probably.
How could you not?
Just to hang out with him.
How could you not?
Well, so yeah, people that have been injured, and one of my, I guess, measuring sticks is, they needed to get medical treatment from ER, medical facility, because you have to prove, that's usually how you're able to prove the injury was caused by the car wreck or the slip, trip, and fall. So in that their story pans out, that I can verify how they say things happened and when they happened, where they happened. So that's usually, and there's always is this somebody I want to represent? The human factor. Yeah. So
do you think that you're like a human lie detector?
Not as much as I'd like to be. I do need to.
You gonna try it on me? Hold my. I think it's here on the wrist.
I can do it on
My hands are sweaty. I'm nervous. Did you feel that?
Are you nervous?
Lotion this morning. I'm so nervous in your presence. I feel like I'm going to court right now.
No.
All right.
You're good.
So on your website, it says slips, trips, falls, car accidents, I think any accident, but you don't have anything about motorcycle accidents on there? Do you help with motorcycle accidents?
Yes.
I was just curious. It wasn't on there. It's fine.
I don't get many of those.
Okay.
But yes, I would.
Okay. I was just curious. All right. So we always ask, why are you a unicorn? She's super adaptable.
Yep.
And the other two questions are, what business hacks or life hacks do you have for the audience? And because you're in business for yourself, right?
Yes.
That's different than working for a law firm.
That's true. That's true. So wear many hats through the day. You know this.
Yeah.
Because you run this company.
Right.
So sometimes you're the accountant. Sometimes you're the marketing director. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're the host.
Sometimes I'm the host.
It's the same thing.
Sometimes no one recording this but me. I'm just joking. Joe's over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so because I was thinking about this here, tell me if you've ever heard, I saw this at the granddaughter's soccer game, and I thought, well, it's brilliant. You know, if you need to put your iPhone, if you're watching like a movie or you're having one of your kids watch the iPhone, and you don't have a stand or anything, you know, you can use your sunglasses.
No, I've never
flip
thought
them
of
over.
it.
You could put your phone right there, and it's like a perfect angle.
Nice.
Stand. I don't know. Does that
work
as a life hack? I
definitely
I was
a life
like,
hack.
well, who in the heck? How?
Will it hold an iPad, you think? Maybe. Just a phone?
I just saw it with a phone. So,
we're going to try that after the show.
Yeah.
We're going to make a YouTube short of Dorothy and I doing this hack.
Yeah, I have my sunglasses. No, I do. We really can.
Yeah.
Because I just thought, well, because the kid was just laying down on the grass watching it, and I'm like, whoever thought of that, that's pretty genius.
Yeah.
So probably a mom who had an emergency situation is like, here, just try the sunglasses.
Yeah.
So
that's funny. The kid probably thought of it, actually. Kid was around her neck. She put him down, knocked her sunglasses off, and then this kid just stuck it in there.
That easily could have been the scenario.
That would have been the commercial we wrote. But anyways.
Yeah.
That is a good hack.
Yeah. I just never, I was like, I would have never thought of that. So
me neither. I will now.
Maybe it was the kid, now that I really think about it.
What about business hack? I mean,
you know, the main thing for me that I've been doing is, I don't know if you're a to-do list guy.
Yep.
I am. I live or die by my to-do list. And so every morning I just do a to-do list. And for me, I start with what I think is going to be the hardest or the most burdensome project.
Yep. Okay. You start with the hard stuff first.
Work to the easiest.
I have to write mine all out because it doesn't come out in the right order. And then I have to go put a 1 next to it. Do that one first.
See, I circle and star.
Okay.
Let's get that over with. I don't really even know if that's necessarily a hack, but anymore, if I don't write something down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most successful people use pen or pencil and paper. So.
Yeah. I did try for a while the online or the app to do it. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Because I always find myself making notes next to stuff.
Yeah. Well, I we spend a lot of time on our computers and our phones already. I enjoy not looking at something even more.
There's something very satisfying about just scratching something off. Done.
Yep, I agree with you. All right, so you've been in business since what year?
Well, I've been practicing. I was licensed in 2001, and I worked for a number of years for a firm.
Okay.
And then I was out on my own. So probably at this point, 15, 16, around there, years on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you start in? Or
I was licensed and got my law license in 2001.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the other hack question I have for you is we've had some law students come through and use this podcast table. Any hacks for these law students? It's a whole different show.
Well, I heard very recently that when not to go too long, but when I went to law school, after you graduate, you have to sit for the bar, right? So back then they had courses that were given outside of school kind of that first month before you take the bar. What I heard now is that this law schools are offering students a semester of bar exam prep.
Okay.
I think my only thing would be, so from what I've heard is kids are taking this and going, okay, I'm ready for the bar. I think I would encourage students to still, we were told, act like it's your job for 2 months, 8 hours a day, get ready for the bar. So
Okay.
I think the hack would be go old school, and for a couple months before the bar, treat it as your job, study 8 hours a day to get
Okay.
ready for it.
Do you like to read?
I love to read. Yeah, I do. I love to read. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Dorothy. So this is great information. Every time we have a podcast, I feel like one of the common topics that come up is mindset.
Okay.
It just kind of seems like a going part of the show. Can you speak to mindset and to like the people that you could help or the people that you've helped that they said, oh, I'll be okay, I'm not hurt that bad, or Dorothy, I don't sue people.
Yeah,
Right?
I've run into that.
So like, I mean, what's your mindset? Like, what's your take on that?
The people, so it seems like you're kind of asking a few different questions in there. So I'll start with
I'm not a very good lawyer. You are. So yes, I was asking lots of questions.
You're a really good interviewer though. So I think I'll start with the person who says, I don't sue people. I have to listen carefully when somebody says that. And because you are essentially entering into, of sorts, a long-term relationship if this is a case that's going into litigation. So
Yeah.
they have to be willing to go the distance. So I do have a conversation with them about, this is your right. Do you have medical bills that are going to need to be dealt with? Did you lose time from work or your ability to work? There's a bunch of questions I can ask to dig deeper.
Mobility, stuff like that with age.
Yeah. Yes. Right? Yes. And a lot of times, depending on the nature of the injury, one of the things people don't think about a lot of times is isolation. When you can't get up and go and live your usual life, you may find yourself relatively isolated.
Okay.
And but these are all things that I'll discuss with that person. And if they are still on the fence or reluctant, then I have to think long and hard about if I want to pursue this.
Yeah.
Because if they won't stay in it for years, it become,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a win for anybody.
Yeah. Over 2 weeks. Over 2 weeks.
Over 2 weeks. That's it. And then with my clients who are in litigation, one of the things that they have to do many times is sit for a deposition, which is very intimidating for people. It's when the other attorney can sit and ask questions of you under oath.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll take quite a bit of time to get them ready for that. But many times they'll say that was the hardest part of the litigation.
Okay.
So,
did you order the code red?
Yeah.
Right.
What kind of shoes were you wearing?
Right.
Huh? You don't remember? So,
Yeah, I could see how that could get really nerve-wracking. You'd be like,
So we talk a lot about mindset and how to deal with that and how to deal with an aggressive attorney or an attorney who's acting like, I'm here to help you, I'm your best friend. Well, no, they aren't. And so we have to deal with that. And then, I don't know, about my mindset or mindset in general.
No, I mean, I think sometimes people forget that maybe, I just keep going like to slip, trip, and fall. Say I was, for example, in a parking lot, sand was out there, and I slipped and fell, and maybe it was just part of the protocol that they should be sweeping up, but they haven't. And like 72 hours, there was a spill, new staff gets lost in training or something like that, or maybe there's no training for it, or something's not getting it's not working, but it does affect the life of the person that fell, right? And then they're like,
and
well,
the people that are
but
around
it's an
them.
accident. Things happen. That's
a lot of, I have, I suppose it's a whole different podcast, but I think with the tort reform that has just been from big corporations the attempt to, what I feel, because of what I do for a living, take the rights of people who have been injured, their rights away to have access to the courthouse. And so there is a lot of that. Accidents happen, big deal, get over it. But what people don't understand is that for some of these people, it's a life-changing event.
Yeah.
You know,
Dorothy doesn't wake up every day going, let's go sue some people. She just really wants to help the people that have been injured.
Yes.
That's
and and you turn away a lot of cases.
Yeah.
You know, I'm lucky to be where I can pick and choose the cases that I take at this point.
Yeah.
So you have to believe in it.
Yeah.
And your client deserves for you to believe in them and their case.
So if someone was looking for a personal injury lawyer, they'll find you here on this podcast, but what if they don't choose you? Like, what should they look for? What are the traits in a personal injury lawyer that you think they should look for, or maybe some good questions they should ask? Just kind of throwing that on you, but
one of the things that I would definitely there's seems to be a lot of attorneys who, and we all are trying to make a living, but one of the things I would make sure that is primarily what that attorney does. Like 98% of my practice is it's what I do day in and day out. I just got a client from. She had a car wreck case that was filed by another attorney who did nothing but estate planning. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but maybe didn't know how to proceed with it. It ultimately got dismissed. And so I think make sure that with any type of attorney, that's the area they practice in. And how long they've been doing it.
What's the percentage that you've been doing this law? Might be a good question.
Yes. And as crazy as it, do you have time to handle my case? So I've had to turn some cases away when I truly am like, I wouldn't be able to give this client in this case the time that it deserves, because current cases are, my to-do list is out the back door. So
awesome. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think you've asked some great questions. So
awesome. Well, thanks for coming. Don't forget to don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment for Dorothy and I, and then thank you to DesignTunnel for being our episode sponsor. And we'll put all your contact information in the description of the show.
Thanks so much, Jimmy. I enjoyed it.
Good job.
Yep. All right.